Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. Yeah, that's it. And what do we got? Oh, God, more Mozart. So much more Mozart. Tons more Mozart. So let's get right to it with something that I particularly love. The Karl Böhm Marriage of Figaro. This is one of the great Figaros. It's wonderful. It's on DG Originals, you'll note. That doesn't mean anything. But you've got Fischer Dieskau as the Count. Gundula Janowitz is the Countess. Edith Matis is Susanna. Hermann Prey is Figaro. Tatiana Troyanos is Cherubino. Patricia Johnson is Marcelina. Irvin Wolfhart is Basilio. Martin Vantine, whatever his name is, Don Corzio. Peter Lager is Bartolo, and Klaus Herta Antonio, and Barbara Fogel, Barbarina, and a couple kids and some other people running around with the chorus and orchestra of the Deutschen Oper Berlin. And, Böhm, who had a reputation for being kind of like, fusty and whatnot, could really let his hair down, however many he had, doing Mozart. This is lively, it's theatrical, it's fresh, the singing is amazing, it's just a great recording. I mean, my gosh, it's wonderful. It's just absolutely wonderful. Then we have Mozart's stupidest opera. Well, no, there's a few of those, but this is La Clemenza de Tito. It's the Gardner one, which is very, very good. I mean, and Sophie von Otter is Sesto, and Anthony Rolfe Johnson is Titus, Servilia is Sylvia McNair, Vitellia is Julia Varady. Oh, yeah, she's a wonderful singer. And she gets the two big arias, the really good ones with the basset horn, obligati. And Catherine Robin is Annio, and Cornelius Hauptmann is Publio, and it's the Monteverdi people and the English Baroque soloists. And yes, it has about as much zest and excitement as the piece can take. Mozart, of course, wrote it in like 5 minutes. It was for a, royal something or other, jubilee, wedding, or whatever, I don't remember. But, even he said that, it's a, you needed someone to take some Metastasio libretto. He said, someone has to take this libretto and turn it into a real opera, is what he said, because the old opera seria style was deader than dead by the time Mozart got his hands on this. And, even the Empress hated it. She called it a porcheria tedesca. I love that. Porcheria tedesca. Which means, of course, exactly what it sounds like. German porker, a German piece of pig crap, basically. It's not. It's just, Titus spends the entire opera forgiving people for trying to assassinate him. That is the plot. It's supposed to talk about the clemency of the wise ruler who will forgive even the most odious and reprehensible actions of his theoretical lovers and friends and buddies and pals and all. It's all just awful. And this is a very good performance of it, if you care. The overture also sucks, by the way. Mozart wrote it in like the last 30 seconds before the first performance. He didn't know what he was doing, and they basically made him sit down in a room and churn it out. It's so workaday. It's very funny. With Mozart, the difference between great Mozart and workaday Mozart can sometimes be rather hard to detect. Not because Mozart was ever really a bad composer, but because the style of the classical era lent itself to a lot of formulaic writing, and Mozart sometimes uses those formulas with absolute genius, and sometimes they're just formulas. They remain just formulas. Like the Jupiter Symphony, the opening is nothing but formulas. Most of those tunes, until you get to the aria tune at the end of the exposition, that's a tune. Up to the rest of the time, it's all just arpeggios, fanfares, and, the common coin. But what Mozart makes of it, that's what makes it a work of genius. Well, this overture, the common coin remains common. And maybe that was Mozart's take on the aristocracy of the day. We could make something of it, but why bother? Okay, chamber music. Well, this is nice. You've got the oboe quartet, the horn quintet, and a musical joke with the Kodai quartet, and Yosef Kiss oboe, and Yeno Kevahazi, whatever his name is, horn on Naxos. A fun disc that I got just for that reason, and because it has the oboe quartet and the horn quintet, two unusual works that were otherwise, you find them in big boxes and things. It's nice to have just a nice disc that has those things on it. As with this one, where you have the clarinet quintet, which I just love. Oh, who doesn't, right? With the Danubius quartet and Yosef Baloch clarinet. And the clarinet quartet in E-flat major, and the quintet for clarinet, basset horn, and string trio, K.A. Kerschel Anhang 90 580B in F major, which is one movement. And it's a nice little collection of, not too common Mozart chamber works, aside from the clarinet quintet. Then we've got the abduction from the seraglio, the Böhm, one of those, which is also very enjoyable. Because you've got, some really cool people. Arlene Auger is Constanza. Reri Grist is Blonda. Peter Schreier is Belmonte. Harold Neukirch is Pedrillo. And Kurt Mahl is Osman. And next to them, you have the names of the people who do the dialogue. They have actors doing the dialogue, which is perfectly fine. I have no problem with that because I skip the dialogue anyway, so I don't care who's doing it. Yes, but it's Karl Böhm's Mozart, and it's really, like I said, we tend to take it for granted these days. We underrate him, especially with the period instrument people now, because in his day, he was one of the great Mozart references, and he deserves to remain so. He really does. Hyperion, Mozart piano trios with the Florestan trio. Oh, these are wonderful. These are absolutely wonderful. Mozart's piano trios are also terribly underrated. Terribly, they are masterpieces. They really are, and they're real piano trios, unlike Haydn's, which are accompanied piano sonatas. Basically, they have absolute independence of the various parts: the cello, the violin, and the piano, and they don't get played that much or recorded that frequently, which really surprises me. These are lovely performances on Hyperion, thanks to the Floristanners. Mozart piano concertos. Oh, Ivan Moravec. These are wonderful. With the Czech Chamber Orchestra and the Czech Philharmonic under Josef Vlach of the Vlach Quartet. That Vlach. And we've got three of them, numbers 14, 23, and 25. This is in, of course, the Moravec Superfund box now, but I was so happy when this came out because he was such a great pianist, and his Mozart is just astoundingly marvelous. It really is. He redid 25, of course, with... I think, didn't he redo it with Mariner? Did we talk about one of those? No, that was someone else. That was Brendel. But anyway, I don't care. There it is, and they're wonderful. What's this? Mozart, Beethoven, Quintets for piano and winds, with the Berlin Philharmonic Wind Quintet, Stephen Hough piano on Bis. These are two wonderful works, and there's an incredible essay, by the way, by Donald Francis Tovey, comparing the two of them. And it really is marvelous because, what Tovey does is he says, the Mozart is the finer work. The Beethoven is obviously imitating Mozart, although in Beethoven, the clarinet has the prime woodwind part, whereas in Mozart, it's the oboe. But they are both delightful works, and it's a wonderful essay in which Beethoven shows just what a genius Mozart was compared to the young Beethoven. Really, really a little bit provocative, and I think absolutely correct, by the way, but you can listen to them and compare them yourself. This also has the quintet in E-flat, opus 16 by Beethoven. That's the wind thing. Oh, the Adagio and in C minor and Rondo in C major by Mozart, arranged for piano, flute, oboe, clarinet, and bassoon. Why not? So that's a lovely disc. The performances are delightful. Hough is terrific. The wind players are marvelous. It's nothing not to love. Mozart piano quartets, with the Mozart piano quartet on Arte Nova. Nobody knows who these people are, but it doesn't matter because they play quite well and it was cheap. And I got it because, again, getting the Mozart piano quartets is like one of those, you want single discs instead of like gigantic boxes, so you can find the works easily and listen to them individually in a relaxed and comfortable way. So that's why I have that. And then last, but certainly not least, the 6 Haydn quartets, the quartets dedicated to Haydn with the Juilliard Quartet. It is amazing to me, amazing that Sony, was releasing these fabulous Juilliard Quartet recordings at super, super cheap prices. This is on Odyssey. It cost like 12 cents, on 3 discs. They did the same thing with the quintets. I mean, just stunning performances, fabulous performances of these works. And they were giving them away because they had no clue how to sell them, which is not surprising, is it? So there you have it, my friends. Keep on listening. Thanks for joining me. More Mozart to come. Take care.